Hey guys, Claire here, and in today's video we're going to talk about all things Sussex related. Now before we get into that, I'm not sure if you guys know, but Spare, Prince Harry's memoir, is still holding the #1 spot after 7 weeks. 7-week #1 spot holder on the New York Times bestseller.
We're just talking, the book Spare. It's a different take when you listen to it. I've been listening to it
on Audible, and when you hear Harry's voice.
Yeah.
So I think, the healing is going to take some time. That's for sure.
Personally, from my experience, I really recommend listening to the audiobook. It's such a great experience. And speaking of Spare, was it yesterday was World Book Day in the UK, and there was a slew of little ones dressed up as Prince Harry for World Book Day, and they were so cute. Now, in the last video, we talked about the huge artists declining the invitation to perform at King Charles's coronation concert.
Charlie. And I will keep calling him that because King Charles is reserved for the spaniel, a creature we respect. Can I just say that this entire narrative makes me happier than a hug from Black Baby Jesus? Nobody wants to play your colonizer coronation. Whatever will you and Camilla clap off beat to? I would like to bestow a one-day pass to the cookout for every A-list artist that turned the crown down. Anyway, here's to the continued celebration of those you've subjugated, dancing on the grave of your cultural relevance. You guys are really flailing on all cylinders now. Couldn't afford spin shoes with all that taxpayer money? Dumb.
Are you for real? Like Chucky, my boy, be so for real right now. Like, you really thought that Elton Candle in the Wind John was going to perform at your coronation? That Elton John, of all people, was going to do what? Sit up there and smile and sing Yellow Brick Road? And congratulations to you, your trifling ass wife. And what is this coronation still the same day as Archie's birthday? I'm not even going to pretend to be surprised if we get photos of Elton and Adele and Harry Styles and all of them up in LA or Montecito, wherever the hell Harry and Meghan at, gallivanting on a lawn playing with the chickens at this point.
There have been a lot of media coverage of that. I mean, Rolling Stones even did a huge story on it, and it was very well written and touched on a lot of points that I found to be quite interesting. Now, I can't read the entire article, but I'm going to leave a link for it in the description box below. But it was basically saying that, musicians used to line up to perform at any major royal event, but that's just not the case. And a lot of these musicians don't want to align themselves with the royal scandal. And as much as the UK press likes to talk about Harry and Meghan being the main problem for the British royal family, they seem to forget that Prince Andrew and the allegations against Prince Andrew and his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein is highly problematic. And I know that they try to pretend that it's not a thing, and you don't really hear the royal reporters or many in the UK press touch on Prince Andrew at all. They all focus on Harry and Meghan, Harry and Meghan. Prince Andrew brings a lot of dead weight, a lot of baggage that's associated with the British royal family. And let's face it, a lot of people aren't as fond of Charles nor Camilla as they were with Queen Elizabeth. And as much as the UK press likes to talk about the overall fondness for William and Kate, I think if anything, Kate is a bit more liked than William. But overall, when you see them go out on tours or leave the royal bubble, like when they came to Boston, they're not as well received as the royal fandom and the royal reporters would like us to think. I mean, they got booed by a stadium full of people at a game. So that has to be very troubling for the monarchy, because let's face it, a lot of the British royal family's concern seems to to focus on popularity. They're obsessed with popularity. Now, Harry and Meghan were spotted on a date night in Cali, and true to the Meghan effect, within hours, her coat sold out. Such a beautiful, like, what was it, cashmere or wool coat? So cute.
One thing I love about Meghan Markle, baby, she pops out on her time. Not everybody sitting here having a whole damn conniption about her being gone for damn near 3 months. But baby, this girl popped out looking relaxed, stress-free, unbothered by everybody sitting up here making all these lies about her on the internet on a daily basis. Prince Harry looks relaxed. Baby, this is what's called too blessed to be stressed. Her skin looks immaculate. Girl, can I get the skin routine? I love it. Because baby, when she steps out, she eats the girlies up. And baby, now that she stepped out, I can't wait to see how Kate's people spin this and make it a Kate look, a modern Kate look. So baby, welcome back, baby. Welcome back. I know I've missed you.
So as much as the press tries to just destroy Meghan's reputation, the Meghan effect is still real. And if you're a Meghan and Harry fan, then you know this, because we've already talked about the popularity and staying power of a lot of the projects that they have done. They always get like the #1 spot. They win awards. I mean, Harry's book, Meghan's book, the podcast, the documentary series, all of the projects that they have done have been stellar and well received, even though the press really tries to tear it apart. So I'm not surprised. Now, there was even an extended version of the question and answer section on the Stephen Colbert show that Harry had did, and some of the answers were so sweet. I feel like Harry's a natural at doing these interviews. His interview with Stephen was just so enjoyable to watch. He has really good comedic timing, and you can tell that Stephen genuinely likes him. He even talked about his wife really being a fan of the British royal family, while he is not. So that was quite enjoyable to watch.
Favorite smell?
Favorite smell? My wife.
Describe the rest of your life in 5 words.
5 separate words or a sentence?
Either way, that's interesting. No one's ever asked that before. You could either do it like sort of a pastiche of these 5 words or a meaningful sentence to you. That's more than 5, man.
Freedom, happiness, clarity, space, love.
We even got to see a very brief cameo of Meghan featured in a Instagram post for the business that she had invested in. So it's always nice to see her looking booked, busy, unbothered, and glowing as usual. That skin, ugh, so good. Now, did you guys read that article from Time that says that it's very unlikely that President Biden will be in attendance to Prince Charles's or King Charles's coronation? It's still kind of hard for me to get into the habit of calling him King Charles. It does not roll off the tongue. Now, speaking of the Bidens, it was recently revealed that Dr. Jill Biden, the First Lady of the United States, has recently read Prince Harry's memoir, Spare. Now, as you guys know, the Bidens have a rather close and long-standing relationship with Prince Harry, so that's nice. I am crossing my fingers that Biden will not attend. Biden, Harry, and Meghan need to stay in the US. Let them continue on with their overpriced coronation in the UK. Now, unless you've been living under a rock, you definitely know the petty leaks of Charles evicting Harry and Meghan from Frogmore Cottage. as Harry said, and as a lot of Harry and Meghan stans point out, every single time people within that family, that institution, starts getting bad press, you know, they're gonna throw out a Harry and Meghan story to distract everyone. And this is no different. Charles was getting bad press for two things, you know, becoming the butt of the joke that nobody wants to perform at his coronation, and also getting a lot of flack for having that meeting with the leader of EU. Apparently, the Frogmore conversation started in January, right after Harry released Spare. And we're in March, and they saw fit to sit on that story and release it now for dramatic effect and to distract from the bad press for Charles. But it really hasn't been working, because people are still talking about the coronation no-shows. And now that you have, you know, a probability that Biden's not going to show, I'm sure that that's going to cause another round of press about that. And also people in Europe, I'm seeing there was somebody on social media that was showing articles, I believe from France and one from Germany, where they're still talking about the situation with him meeting with the leader of EU. So the staying power of using Harry and Meghan for distraction isn't really hitting the way it used to hit.
Buckingham Palace PR, this is Ashley. Your Majesty, hello. Yeah, no, coronation planning is going super well. Just really smoothly, no bumps in the road whatsoever. Although I was thinking, how interesting would it be to turn it into a more intimate gathering? Yeah, not because no one wants to come. That is not the reason at all. I'm sure there's a very long list somewhere of people who would like to attend. But how fun would it be to just have your close friends and family there? And it would go with your sustainability measures. So, you know, something to think about. And you want to do a housing redistribution before the coronation? Yeah, no, those words do make me nervous, but that's my natural state when it comes to these calls. So you wanna take away Frogmore Cottage from Harry and Meghan and give it to the less fortunate? And who might that be, Your Majesty? Prince Andrew. Okay. Well, you know, I don't think we've hit a popularity floor yet. So yeah, that makes sense. You want the monarchy to end with you, then. Do I have that right?
And also, I feel like the reaction from that story has been very mixed. You know, royalists are gonna celebrate this and see it as some sort of win. Yes, you know, we're gonna stick it to Harry and Meghan. But for everybody else who's not like into that whole royalist bubble, it just seems like a waste of time. It seems petty. It seems very unroyal-like, very unkingly-like. People are like, there's so many things going on in the UK. Cost of living crisis. You're already spending an obscene amount of money for this coronation, even though you really don't need a coronation because you are already king, and you choose to evict them from a cottage that they're not even inhabiting. But most importantly, it was a gift from your mother to her grandson and his wife. And let's just talk about that for a second. So far, Charles has reneged on 3 things that his mother, or on 3 wishes of his mom. Firstly, the Frogmore thing. That was a gift for Harry and Meghan. It was supposed to be a place for them for the long term, which is evident by the money that they spent to make that dilapidated place a home for years to come. So he reneged on that out of petty spite because Harry called his wife dangerous and spilled the tea. Remember, Queen Elizabeth wanted Camilla to be known as Queen Consort, not Queen. I mean, Philip was not called King Philip, just Prince Philip. So the fact that Charles is seeing fit to axnay the consort portion of the name and just have it as Queen Camilla, that's number 2. Thirdly, let's not forget that the Queen and Charles's father wanted Edward to have the Duke of Edinburgh title, which Charles has still been dragging his foot to give Edward. And that brings me to another point. I feel like I was having a conversation with somebody on Twitter about that this week. But I'm so happy that Harry left when he did, because could you imagine for him and Meghan have to sit around depending on William the same way Andrew has to sit around and depend on Charles. You know, Charles wants to kick him out of the Royal Lodge, but he wants to put him in Frogmore. Edward has to bend the knee and just do what he's told, because he could potentially lose that big old house that him and Sophie and their kids live in, even though I'm sure he's mad as hell that he hasn't gotten that Duke title. You know, instead Charles is sending him to the Caribbean, do this, do that. You're not getting that title, and if you act up, you know, I'm gonna pull it from you the same way I'm pulling it from Harry. And I think the things that Charles has done to Harry, pulling of the security and now with the Frogmore and everything else, like Tyler Perry said, is the work of an abuser. That's what an abuser does. They want to control you, and when they cannot control you, they try to take the things away from you so you can come back running.
I mean, in my opinion, it feels like punishment. And, you know, the royal family are a family we all looked up to. They are the first family of our country. And what does that tell you? That if you speak about your relationships, if you speak about toxic behavior, if you call out what you perceive as racism or any kind of issue, you get punished. And I think it's quite, you know, this is the reason why so many people don't speak out about abusive behavior in their families or things they're going through or whistleblowing at work, because of punishment. And that's what it leads to, in my opinion.
And the situation with how Charles has handled Harry is also a little nod to anybody else in the family who is even thinking of stepping their foot out of line. Like, this is how it's gonna be. So there's that. I'm happy that Harry and Meghan left when they did, right before the pandemic started, so they can have that time to build what they have built so far. And I love that for them. Now, there recently was a story released from the Times saying that Harry and Meghan are A-okay with the Frogmore situation. But here's the thing. Well, there's two issues that I have with that article. First and foremost, it's written by Valentine Lowe. Valentine Lowe has had a years-long campaign of Meghan hatred, okay? He's right on up there with Piers and the lot of them. He's just not as loud about it. Now, if you look at his body of work, it's very anti-Meghan, and it has been for years. He's said some really foul stuff. When Archie was born, he talked about the only way Harry would ever return is if, you know, Meghan was no longer with us, if you know what I mean. Like, he's a nasty piece of work, that one. So I don't for 1 minute believe that any source close to the Sussexes has given Valentine any sort of information. I think he's pulling that out of his butt. Let's not forget, Harry and Meghan already said that they're not working with specific papers of the UK. I'm just not buying that. And secondly, if you look at the imagery for the article, the deception of the British press is evident. They're showing a picture of, I believe, Frogmore House, it's called. I'm gonna have to double check on that. But the picture of the Frogmore that they're showing for the article is not Frogmore Cottage, where Harry and Meghan has lived. Those are two very different buildings. So, of course, they're going to use the photo of the grander Frogmore house as opposed to the actual Frogmore Cottage, which is very much more dingy and smaller looking than what they're showing. And they're doing this with a purpose. It's very deceptive, but that's what they do. And that's why I say, once again, I don't for 1 second believe that any source close to the Sussexes spoke to Valentine Lowe. And while I'm on that, I believe it was 3 or 4 videos ago, someone in the comment section said, oh, well, you know, you say the UK press, but it's not the UK press, it's the tabloids. And honestly, I disagree with that, because yes, we know the tabloids, the Daily Mail, the Sun, the Mirror, they're very dishonest. It's tabloid fodder. But let's just be real. If any sort of conversation is being had when it relates to Harry and Meghan on any ITV show, it's going to have a negative spin. It is going to push palace narratives, right? ITV is not a tabloid. And even I've seen some interviews on BBC, which is supposed to be focused on the news, supposed to be, you know, sort of like an NPR of the UK, unbiased. But it's anything but. There have been huge people in American politics who have done interviews in the past couple of years, and it never fails for the interviewees or the interviewers to ask these people their thoughts on Harry and Meghan and try to find a negative spin on it. And of course, these people know the drill, so they shut them down in a very professional manner. But the point is, BBC interviewers have been very unprofessional, very anti-Harry and Meghan, very pro-palace talking points. So this misinformation, bias, smear is heavily interwoven in the UK press, period. Not just the tabloids.